So students, I will just give you some time and I will just go through this question. So please don't go through the reference material. I will do that for you all. But students, only until the please refer reference material can you start going through, students, so that it will be very easy for me to guide you on the next process. I'll write here mock 1 answer. Today I will develop the answer for your students. And one more thing, students, I wanted to tell you that please, when you are doing the answer, please do the color coding for the initial 3 or 4 mocks what we are practicing, because I will teach you based on the color coding only. So students who just joined, I just want you to go through this question until this refer material only. Don't go through everything, just go through the reference material only, because this is our first mock exam what we are going to do. So students, can you tell me what is the theory area that is coming here? The theory area that is coming here, can you tell me the theory area? Students, I think Lily, your mic is not yet connected. You are talking.
Yes. I think the theory is part of like F2 mainly. What's this functional currency?
No, I'm just asking directly what should be the theory area heading. You are correct, but can we be straightforward here? Can you?
IAS 21 foreign
Thank you.
currency transaction.
Thank you very much, Shreya. IAS 21 foreign currency transaction. Now, if you see, students, main reason why students don't pass this paper is they are unable to connect the base knowledge. Now, Shreya, thank you for telling that. Shreya, how were you
Yes,
able to
sir.
connect the base knowledge?
Because they are asking for the IFRS also, as well as it says,
Specification,
yeah,
specification, right? And you can get through the words. Now,
yes,
students, now tell me, students, now if you see Lily, if you can't get the IAS 21 properly in your mindset, that means you will come to a marks range somewhere around 78 or 75. Worst case scenario, 60s. You get what I'm saying there? Yes or no?
Yes.
So please be careful, students, to be very much strong with this knowledge area. That means you need not memorize the entire thing, but at least minimum you need to get through this. Agree?
Agreed.
So Asta, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So Asta, are you aware about IAS 21?
Not really.
Not
I have
really,
not
no? So
researched. Yes.
correct. So students, now the main reason I'm starting with an F2 section today, so that you will start working. You get what I'm saying, students? Okay. Now, students, the knowledge area was IAS 21, but no need to know the 100% knowledge, just the application. So the good thing of this new exams is, now if you see Asta, do you see here 40%? Do you see here 60%? Yes or no?
Yes.
40%, 60%. So you can determine the length of the answer based on the percentage. Now, if you write
Okay.
80% for a 40% answer, still they will correct for only how many marks? 40% only.
40%.
And if you write for 100% for 60% marks, still you will be getting a marks range of only 60%. You get what I'm saying? So
Correct.
students, this will be a process for you. Today, it's a learning day. It's not a day of perfection. Today, it's a learning day. So students, I will just come here. So I will just do the planning first. So issue one, and they have clearly mentioned determination. Now I'm doing the structurization, students. Determination of functional currency, of the functional currency. Determination of the functional currency. Determination of the functional currency of plastifact. Okay, determination of the functional currency of plastifact. Now, if you see here, students, that is a main heading. What heading, students? Main heading. Agree or not agree? Yes or no? And there is again another main heading, students, that is specifically telling you impact. Impact on what, students? Impact of the acquisition. Impact of the acquisition on the consolidated, on what, students? On the consolidated financial what, students? Financial what, students? Statement. Okay, so students, 40% means if the answer, the total marks for this question, total marks is how much, students? Total marks is how much, students? Total marks is 25 marks. Total marks is 25 marks. So students, I am specifically asking you 25 marks, 40%. Someone is having a background problem. Please, if you have an issue, please unmute, students. Okay, now students, I am just telling you here, if there is a determination 10 marks, so if you see 25 into 40% is how many marks, students? 10 marks. How many marks? 10 marks. And of course, you know the part B should account for how many marks, students? 15 marks. Are you now clear with the marks allocation? Asta, is that clear for you? Yes or no? Asta,
Yes.
is the
Yes,
marks
sir.
allocation clear for you? It's good. So Asta, just I wanted to say one thing. Now, generally, students, I feel someone is having a mic issue. Can you just unmute it, please? Can you mute your mic? I think Asta can be the moderator for some time. Okay. I think Eti also, please mute your mic. Asta, can you be the moderator for some time?
Sure, sir.
Okay, so I'm coming to the question here. Now, if you observe a determination of the functional currency, it is 10 marks. Okay, students, determination of the functional currency is 10 marks. Now, in SEMA examination, just for the safety, if it is a 10 marks, you need to have 5 subheadings. For 2 marks, you need to have 1 subheading of the points, and you need to structure it. So here you need to have 5 subheadings. How many for subheadings? 5
Five.
subheadings. And here it's 15 marks, so you need to have 7 subheading, but that is the general norm. Sometimes you can have less. Worst case scenario is only 7. You get what I'm saying, Asta? That's a structuring
Yes.
process. Okay, now students, I think you know the main heading and you know the main 2 headings. So we need to determine the subheadings for each. And one more thing, students, the reference material is little important, because you can extract the unseen data into the answer from the reference material also. So students, coming to the question, Gunther curves. Can you tell me who is Gunther curves or Gunther curves? Asta, who is Gunther curve?
I'm not
You can't
really
recall. You
updated.
can't recall.
No.
Okay. So I will ask the other people. Students, who is Gunther curve? Lily, any understanding?
No, sir. I forgot.
So
Okay.
he's the production director.
Production director. Thanks, Shreya. So production director is the person there. So just keep in mind, you need to know the characters' names. You need to know what, students? Characters' name. You get what I'm saying here. Now, Asta, I'm asking you a question. What is your role in this organization? Who are you in this?
Finance
Finance
manager.
manager. So as finance manager, do you need to know the people who you are working with in the organization? Compulsory or
Absolutely,
not
yes.
compulsory? It's
Yes.
compulsory. Okay, practical. So Gunther Kerb is the production director. So generally, will production director have understanding about financial knowledge?
Not
Not really,
extensively.
not
Yeah.
extensively. That is a practical way. So it's not extensively, students. So that is very much clear. So I would like to get your assistance on the following. He's asking, we are planning to start the production in overseas because we may find it very efficient to transport the goods to the Asian countries. Because at the moment we have only one factory, yes or no? So we
Yes.
initially manufacture from one factory and then we send throughout how many countries?
110.
110 countries. So students, that is the pre-seen knowledge. Okay. Therefore, we are planning to acquire Plastifact Private Limited, a manufacturing plant in which country? Bangladesh. Okay. So at the moment, we are in Varanda, which is a European country. Agree? So we are going to shift to Bangladesh just for the Asian region. Please be kind enough to draft me an email on the following: a determination of functional currency of what? A Plastifact. Okay. Plastifacts prepare financial statement using IFRS, so that goods, they are not following their local gap, but they use what? They use what? Taka
I
as their functional currency. What is their currency? Taka.
Taka.
Now, if you see our currency is what currency? What is the currency of Priblocks?
$3.
$3.
V dollars. V dollars. The functional currency is V dollars. So students, now Taka is using the Plastifact is using Taka as their functional currency. Priblock has agreed to provide any loan to Plastifact needed. At the moment, have they provided any loan, or when
No.
it is needed only they will provide it? When it is needed only. You get
Needed.
what I'm saying? And please
Yes.
explain which currency should be the functional currency 40%. Now, if you look at here, the information what is there is not enough, yes or no, to do a detailed examination, agree or not agree. So you need to check whether they have given any other further details in the reference material. Any other further details in what? Reference material. You get what I'm saying here. Because here they have just given the overview of the proposal, but in the reference material, they may give additional information. Ready? So can we go through the reference material, students? Yes or no? Okay. So students, if you see reference material part 1, they are specifically stating functional currency. The client pays using what? The client pays using what? All clients pay using what? Taka.
Taka.
That means their sales are in what? Taka.
Taka.
All cash is held in Taka in bank account. So their storage of currency is also in what? Taka. Yes or no? Plastic fact pay salary, wages, electricity using what? Taka. Yes or no? Agree or not agree?
Yes.
Makes sense. Okay. Tax is paid in what? Taka. Basic plastic is bought in Taka, but hard plastic ABM is supplied by whom? Priblocks. Okay, because hard plastic Priblocks uses they supply, but the normal plastic is bought in which currency? Taka. Are you clear
Taka.
with that? Yes or no?
Yes.
So with these 5 points, can we do a theory application connection? Possible or not possible?
Possible.
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 Possible. Possible. So in this class for today, I think only Shreya will get a little good picture, but the other students, I want to ask to Shruti. Shruti, are you there? Yes or no?
Yes.
Shruti, how is your basic knowledge with IAS 21?
Sir,
I will ask from Revati. So Revati, are you there? Students, again, I am repeating, please have a good mic system, students. You will find it very worth in this class. Because again, you are paying so much for a high quality service and you are not giving the service from your side. Please have a mic system. I am reminding you. So I will continue with Asta only. So Asta, just asking from you, still, are you having a problem with IAS 21? Yes or no?
I have basic understanding. So,
Basic
but
understanding, right? But still the conceptual issue is there. So I will do the conceptual today, but my suggestion is whenever y'all are getting free time, can you start going through the conceptual knowledge? Possible or not possible? Yes or no?
yes, sir.
Okay, so students, now coming here, let's start doing the working, students. Okay, so here initially we need to start with the black color ink, students, which is very, very important. So can we start working with the black color ink, students? Yes or no? Yes. So I will generally say here IAS 21. What is that? IAS 21, foreign currency translation. Foreign currency, what, students? Translation. This is an international accounting standard. Okay. Clearly states a company may have exposed to two different what, students? Two different
Currents.
currencies if they have cross-border transaction, if they have cross-border transaction, what is that? Cross-border transactions, cross-border transactions. In other words, international what students? International transactions, international transactions, international transactions. Okay. So are you clear with the initial introduction of IAS 21? Is that clear or not clear? Yes or no?
Correct.
It's clear. So what I will do is I will just write down a subheading as IAS 21 just to give the examiner the viewing point, because one thing, if you want to pass the exam, you need to keep your answers reader friendly. That means the person who is reading the answer may find it easier for him to read. You get what I'm saying there, Asta? Yes or no? It should be
Yes.
reader friendly. The reading element should be very much friendly. Okay, now I will come to the next paragraph. Okay, because the neatness is important. So I will write down here another subheading as what currency? Functional currency.
Functional
I
currency.
am not going into detailed explanation of the application till now because this is the F2 area. In F2 area, the technical explanation weighs more. The technical explanation weighs more. So I can say this is the currency. This is the currency. This is the currency that is used for day-to-day transactions. For day-to-day what students? Transactions. Agree or not agree, Asta? Yes or no?
Correct.
For
Yes.
day-to-day transactions. Example, sales. After that, I can say purchases. Yes or no?
Purchases.
Sales, purchases. After that, I can say
Operational expense.
operational expenses, comma, tax
Taxes.
payment, comma, I can still say financing requirements, yes or no, because financing also will be in the local currency, yes or no, financing
Right.
requirements, full stop. So this is the functional currency. So I can generally make it very easy for the British person to understand, the British examiner. So I will say in UK, the functional currency is what? The functional currency is
Pounds.
Great Britain pound. So I'll write down here GBP. Do you have any problems in the structurization, Shreya? No, right?
No,
Clear.
sir. Yeah.
It looks very clear. So Asta, coming back to the next point. So can we continue with the next point, Asta? Yes or no? So I
Yes,
will
sir.
write down here presentation currency. What is this currency? Presentation.
Presentation currency.
So if you see Asta, if you see even in India, the RBI's presentation currency is in US dollars only, because the
Right.
Indian GDP will be ultimately shown in which currency? Dollars only. Agree or not agree? The
Right.
balance of payment, deficit, surplus, everything will be in US dollars. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes or no, Asta? But
Correct.
the
Correct.
Indian functional currency is INR.
INR.
Internally, they use INR. So I can say this is the currency. This is the currency. This is the currency that is used to prepare the
Financial statements.
financial statements. Generally a multinational, what is the term I am using here? A multinational, generally a multinational organization will present their financial informations in US dollars. Yes or no? Agree or not agree? In
Correct.
USD. Full stop. So this is the presentation currency. This is the presentation currency. So do you have any questions in this structuring, Asta?
No questions, sir.
No questions such. Other students in the functional currency and presentation currency, do you have any questions here, students? Please feel me to let me know. Any questions you have, I will be able to explain it. If the explanation is clear, students, can you just put Y in the chat box, students? Thank you very much,
So,
students. Yes, please.
I had a question.
Yes,
That was not regarding IAS 21, but since in the first issue they have mentioned of giving loan to Plastifact,
correct.
so borrowing cost interest can be applied
can be applied,
when
but the thing is that sentence is very vague, because Shruti, even if they give loan to Plastifact, that loan must be in the local currency taka. Now, for example, Shruti, if India is taking a loan from World Bank or IMF, what generally happens is they may get the loan in US dollars, but at the end of the day, it will be in INR. What do you think, Shruti? Yes or no?
yes,
So
yes,
here they have not provided loan. They agreed to provide loan if needed. If needed, you get what I'm saying. So until
correct.
now, if there is any need has come in the pre-scene, I think not yet, not yet. Maybe in the future. But even if we take a loan, it is not determining our functional currency until now, because majority of our operations are in Taka currency. Is that clear?
Yes.
Asta, can we continue with the explanation? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so can we write down another subheading? This is all theory I am explaining. Determination of functional currency. Determination of what currency? Functional currency. Again, theoretically, how we need to determine the functional currency. Can we continue with that? Yes or no? Yes.
Yes.
So I can write down here the functional currency. The functional currency the functional currency is determined, generally based on the day-to-day operations and majority
Usage.
of the usage. So I will underline the term majority of the usage, but in the examination, students, you have the options to do this italics and bold. You get what I'm saying. So this is one presentation skill a student can adapt in the examination. In your system, you have this option. Are you clear with that, Asta? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So majority of the usage. Now students, what I will do here, I can write down a different color. That is our red color pen. So here can we write down determination of functional currency of plastifact by pry blocks. By whom? Pry blocks. Because
Abacus.
now we are going to acquire this. So we need to be able to understand what is that. Now, if you generally see Hindustan Unilevers, have you heard like that Asta, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Unilevers Hindustan. So
Yes, sir.
Unilevers Hindustan is specifically Hindustan, yes or no? But even if
Correct.
you see Sri Lanka Unilevers also, they don't say Unilevers. They say Unilevers Sri Lanka. And even
Correct.
if you see Airtel is there in Sri Lanka. In India, they say Bharati Airtel. But in Sri
Correct.
Lanka, it is known as Airtel Lanka. You get what I'm saying. So why
Correct.
do they change their brand according to the local? Is mainly their functional currencies are in that localized
Well,
area currencies. You
country.
get what I'm saying there. Is
Right.
that clear with that Asta? Yes or no? So
Absolutely.
absolutely clear. So now what I can do is, Asta, I can just use the facts what is given in the reference material and
Right.
connect it to my answer. Now the problem what happens is some students come to the red color area without doing the application of what? The black color area. Because now if you see Asta, I told you who is our audience in this case? Gunther Cubs, yes or no? Because he's
Yes.
the audience. But if you generally see who is our finance director? What is the finance director's name? Can you remember
Uh,
the name of our
uh,
finance director?
Indira
I
Nui.
Indra Nui, the Pepsi finance, the Pepsi CEO only, Indra
see
Nui.
you.
Okay, so don't forget the name. So Indra Nui is the name. So I am asking Asta, if Indra Nui will never ask you this question, you get what I'm saying? Because
Correct.
Indra Nui will definitely know this. You get the point what I'm saying. But the
Right.
question will arise from the production director or someone. So can we start doing the determination now? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So I'll write down specifically in Bangladesh, I need to mention. But now I am using Bangladesh here, Asta, just to make my class little bit clear for you. But in English, in the exams, they won't give you Bangladesh. They will give you V country, C country. You get what I'm saying. Now,
Right.
if I generally say Bangladesh, your visualization skills will be better. Agree or not agree? Yes or no?
Agreed.
That's
Agreed.
the only reason. But in the exam, it won't be a specific country. They will give a hypothetical country. In Bangladesh,
Absolutely.
the
Functional
local
currency.
currency, I will make it very simple. I'm not using function. The local currency is taka. Agree? Okay. Therefore, as per the initial research in the reference material, I am using the source also, reference material. Okay. We can understand that the sales, purchase of normal plastic. What plastic?
Normal
Normal
plastic.
plastic. I am using plastic. Why? Because our industry knowledge. Agree or not agree? Yes or no? Plastic.
Correct.
Cash balance, then salaries and wages for the factory workers, comma, I can also say electricity for the factory operations, and tax is generally paid in what? In
Taka.
taka. Therefore, we can justify that the functional
Functional
currency
currency.
is taka for Plastifact. Functional currency is taka for Plastifact. Agree or not agree? Yes or no? You
Agreed.
get the point what I'm saying there, Asta? Is that clear?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Very good. And now one thing, Asta, I wanted to say, it was a question raised by Shreya, Shruti, regarding this, that is the loan
Finance.
providing, the financing of the loan. So it's a little bit of skeptical thinking. Okay, you should think in the leadership angle. So can I just use the blue color ink because it's a leadership? Agree or not agree? Yes or no?
Agreed.
So it's not related to the application. It's a leadership. Suppose if we provide them finance, only the financing amount what we paid or what we transferred will be in V
$8.
dollars. Agree or not agree? Yes or no?
Yes.
So in case still the functional currency will be what? Taka.
Taka. So just one more question here. They've also specified but the hard plastic ABM is to be supplied by Priblocks.
Correct. So can that be transfer pricing?
Yes.
Have you heard something called transfer pricing, students?
Yes.
Yes or no? Thank you for asking that question, Asta. So can we write that down? Yes or no? So
Yes,
that
sir.
is only known as integration. That is only known as what, Asta? Integration.
Integration.
The hard plastic that is supplied is an intercompany transaction. Is an
Intercompany
intercompany transaction, and will be treated as transfer pricing. Will be treated as transfer pricing. Is that clear now for you, Asta? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So how many marks did we score here? 10 marks. And just can we do analysis of how many subheadings we had? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or something it is coming. But is the answer neat or not neat, Asta? Then the neatness of the answer is
Neat.
there. It's
Yes.
very neat.
Yes, sir.
And one thing, Asta, is this a very difficult way to develop ones? Honestly, tell me, if you work hard, is it possible or not?
No.
It's possible, right?
It is
It's
possible.
possible. It's
Yes.
possible, students. So students, I am done with the section A of this answer. Before going into the section B, any doubts you have, you can ask me, students. I will give you around 1 minute time. So students, if the explanation is clear, you can put Y in the chat box. And students, if you still need any clarification, you can ask me. The people skill, the green color I have not used until now. The main reason I did not use is here they are not specifying anything related to the people. What do you think, Asta? Yes or no? Because
Yes,
this is
sir.
a pure technical angle question. And now students, if you see this transfer pricing I have mentioned, so this is the element where the best answer variate. Now, if you see Asta, the people who are doing this exam, I'm telling 70% will do whatever I have done in the black color and the red color. Yes or no? The
Right,
majority
sir.
will do it. But the minority only will go for the blue color. Agree or not agree? Yes or no?
Agreed.
and
Agreed, sir.
and the blue color highlighted one, the minor minority only will do it. Very very niche people only will do that. Agree or not agree?
Agreed, sir.
So I think everyone is clear with the explanation, so thank you very much students. So what we will do is we will do with the part B requirement. Yes or no, Asta?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So part B requirement here, impact of the acquisition on the consolidated financial statement of Triblocks. Okay. So please be kind enough to explain the impact in the consolidated financial statement of the Triblocks if the acquisition takes place. Would like to know the impact on the computation of the goodwill on acquisition and post acquisition what? Post
Perfect.
acquisition what? Profit. Post acquisition profit. Goodwill and post acquisition profit is very much specified. So initially, let's write a bit of the consolidation impact. The first thing what they're asking. So I will just specifically do like this. Consolidation impact. What is that? Consolidation
Consolidation impact.
impact. And then I will write down another one, goodwill impact. Goodwill impact. And there is another one I can specifically say, post acquisition profit impact. Post acquisition what? Profit
Profit
impact. Are
impact.
you clear with these three areas what we have considered here? Yes or no? Consolidation impact, goodwill impact, post acquisition profit impact. So the total here is 15 marks. So three headings. So can I make it here 5 marks
5
each?
marks each.
And now I am asking you students, did I break my head to do the separation or I took it directly from the question?
Directly from the question.
Students, so answer planning is difficult or easy, Asta? What do you think?
It becomes easier once
It
you know what
becomes
is being
easier when you
asked.
practice also. But students, again, I am telling you, this is the most easiest way to pass the CMA examination. Be presence of mind, because I told you even in the last class, presence of mind is very important. And students, I think Asta, you have that presence of mind because you are asking that question related to the internal supply. All you get what I'm saying? Because this
Yes.
question will arise only if you have presence of mind. Agree or not agree, Asta? Makes
Agreed,
sense or
sir.
doesn't make sense? It won't come if
Makes
you have just
sense.
studied the notes. So students, can we just go through the fair value measurement information what they are given in the reference material? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so students, the carrying amount of the machinery with the remaining useful life is 10 years and Taka has 10 million. But the fair value of the asset is how much, students? 15
15 million.
million. So how much is the excess fair value adjustment? Excess
5.
fair value adjustment is 5 million. Excess depreciation for a year is going to be how much? 5 million divided by 5 million divided by how much, students? 5 million divided by 10.
10
So
years.
Asta, just coming for a basic explanation. So students, if you don't mind, can you work with me, students, in your writing book? So students, the net book value, do you see Asta, I am writing net book value below? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Net
Yes.
book value is 10 million, but the fair value is how much, students? The fair value is
15.
15 million. So the excess amount in this case, is how much, students? The excess
5.
amount is 5. 5 divided by 10 years, 5 divided by 10 years, what will be the excess depreciation? What will be the excess depreciation? The excess depreciation is going to give you how much? It's going to give you how much? 0.5. Agree or not agree, Asta? Yes
Correct.
or no?
Yes,
So
sir.
goodwill impact will be the fair value adjustment. excess depreciation will be the profit acquisition. Agree or not agree? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So here I was able to take 2 points. Yes or no? 2 points I was able to take. Students, just can you write this explanation what I have mentioned here? And students, please let me know if there is any questions in this excess value calculation. Please let me know, students. Excess value calculation. If you have any problems, please can you let me know, students?
Sir, can you repeat it once more?
Definitely. So if you generally see in when you're buying a new company, everything should be again remeasured at the market value. That is a rule, accounting rule. Now, example, Idea Vodafone is going to get connected together means they should completely update their financial statement to today's value. Is that clear, Revati? Yes or no? Today's value. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
in the accounts, they may have the accounting value, that is net book value. The net
Okay.
book value is 10 million, but when
Mm.
they do the interpretation for today, it's 15 million. So
Mm.
they need to do a revaluation for 5 million.
5
That
million.
revaluation is only known as excess fair value adjustment. And that
Okay.
revaluation of 5 years, 5, should be again accounted in the future as an excess depreciation, because we normally calculate depreciation for cost over the estimated useful life. Fine. But when there is an excess value added, even that excess value should be taken as an excess depreciation. Are you clear with that, Revati?
Yes, sir. Now it's clear. Yeah.
Thank you. So
Thank you,
students,
sir.
any questions you can ask me, students. Please write it down. This is a very, very important knowledge, students. Very, very important knowledge. Can you please write it down, students? Very, very important knowledge.
Sir, I have one question here.
Yes, please.
When they have specified in the question, please be kind enough to explain the impact of consolidated financial statement. They have not mentioned anything about, we are assuming it will be 100% acquisition, right?
Agree. If they don't mention anything, if they are vague like this, the assumption is
Yes.
100% only.
100%. Yeah.
That's the UK style. They won't say we bought fully. If they say we
Okay.
bought, it means meaning is what? Fully.
100%.
100%. Now, if you see generally, they say Tata acquired Range Rover or Jaguar. Do they say the percentage of acquisition?
No, it's
They don't
generally a
say.
generic statement.
Generally, as generic statement, meaning means Tata has got the control over the entity.
Okay.
I think that is clear, right? And I don't know if you have seen the Geo, Facebook, and Google acquisition, they showed the percentage 5%, 10%. That minority share was mentioned if you have read the newspaper. Facebook
Correct.
has acquired 5% in Google. That's the
Yes.
style they say. But if they don't say the percentage, the assumption is that the company control has been transferred.
Okay.
Students, just can you put a Y in the chat box, students, if the explanation is clear? Because the main important here is, students, you should understand the explanation. Very much important, students. Very much important. And again, students, I am always available for you all. Any questions you have, even off the class, you can ask me. Not always inside the class. Even I am available offline also, after the class also. So whatever the doubts you have, even like I need to appreciate Revati for asking me to explain this fair value question once again. That's really good, students. Please be open enough to ask whatever the things you have, because this 1 month we will do our best and clear this paper. Okay, so can I start going through the next one, Asta? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So thank you, students. So there was a training conducted on total quality management for staffs, and the skills are expected to yield a return of 200,000 taka by which year? 2021. The fair value of the training cost of taka is how much? 150,000. Taka 150,000. Now I wanted to ask you a question. In accounting, training cost, can that be treated as a capital expenditure or a revenue expenditure? Training cost. Training cost. It's a logical question. Now,
Capital expenditure.
capital expenditure, you are saying. Can you tell me the justification why it's a capital expenditure? One person is using the term capex. That means the economic benefit will be for more than 1 year. And Mr. Kofi has clearly mentioned it is a revenue expense. So we need to have a justification, logical paper. You will understand it. Asta, you are going with what? Capital or revenue?
Capex,
You are going with
capital
capex.
expenditure.
You are going with capex. Okay. So Asta, can you tell me why you say it's a capex?
Because if you even in the statement there, it says that it will start expecting the yields are expected to happen by 2021. So it clearly mentions that over a period of 1 year, we'll start gaining the returns on this investment.
Okay.
The value training is 150,000, which is in the current year, 2020.
Okay. Good. And I will come to the next question from anyone who is saying revenue expenditure also, you can do the justification. So I will say it's a revenue expenditure, Asta. The answer what you gave is wrong. Can I give you the justification? Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir, please.
Now, if you
Yes.
generally see, Asta, people work in EY, agree or not agree? And
Agreed.
why do people work in EY, Deloitte, KPMG? Just to get the exposure, agree or not agree? Yes or no?
Agreed.
And after they get the exposure, do you think they will stay in that organization or they will go for somewhere they get a better pay?
They will go for somewhere where they
Somewhere get a pay. They get the exposure and they go out. That's the problem with investment in the human capital, because human capital is never sustainable. You get what I'm saying? So accounting is saying training costs are always revenue expenditure, because there is an accounting concept called prudence concept. Yes or no? Because we should always be prudent. Now let's assume we have a machinery and we update the engine of that machinery. The machinery will work better, but still machinery will not go outside the organization. You have control of the machinery, agree or not agree, Asta?
Absolutely.
But if
It
you
will be
look at
retained.
correct, but if you see the human capital, how much ever the training you give them, they will take the training and they will leave the organization. Now is that clear, Asta? Yes or no?
Correct, sir.
So
So
I
that
can say this is wrong. You can't capitalize this should be treated as an expense.
because the retention of the people is a question mark, and hence we come to a conclusion that it cannot be retained for a period of an year. Is that how we
Agree.
put it, sir?
100% agree. 100% agree. It cannot be kept for the period of long term. 100% agree. Yes, thanks, Kathy. People can still live. It's 100% true. That's what we don't consider that. So, any questions you have in the second bullet point, you can ask me, students, because I'm doing the revision also here. I'm not generally doing the question, I'm doing the revision also. So, one thing, Asta, just a request, a small request. If you have a paper and a pen, it will be really, really valuable. I'm telling you. If you can jot this down.
Yes, sir. I'm taking notes.
Thank you. So students, I think it's clear for you all. So can I come and explain the third bullet point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So Plastifact has a court case. What is the accounting standard for court case? Can someone recall? accounting standard for court case? I think Usama, wonderful, thank you. It's IAS 37. IAS 37. IAS 37. Students, please write it down. See how many accounting standards are getting covered today. So many are getting covered. So IAS 37. Can you please write down as provisions? It's known as provisions, contingent assets and liability. So I'll just write down provisions here. Provisions here. So they are saying Plastifac has a court case for using plastic with high level of emission at present. The lawyer estimated the chances of losing the case is 40%. So we generally say it's possible. We say it's what? Possible. If it is more than 50%, it's known as what? Probable. It's more than 50%, it's known as what? Probable. And if it is 95% to 100%, we generally use the term as virtually certain. What is that? Virtually certain. And then 0% to 5%, we generally say as remote. These are the chances of the things happening. So students, it's getting recorded also, but I'm just suggesting if you can write it down. Okay, Asta?
Yes, sir.
Other students, you can put Y in the chat box, please.
Can you just tell me what is 0 to 5%? The term?
Remote. I'll write it down. Remote. I'll write it down here. It's a remote. Chances are very less. Chances are very less. Okay, so which the lawyer estimated to take Taka 50,000, and the fair value of the contingent liability is how much? It is how much? 30,000. So liabilities should be recorded immediately. Prudence concept. Because
Correct.
anyway, it should be taken as 30,000 in the goodwill calculation, and after that also it should be carried forward as liabilities. So these 3 points, whatever I explain students, you need a little bit of knowledge also, but still students, I am covering all those areas. Yes or no, students? Agree or not agree? But one thing, Asta, I wanted to say, your mind should be not fixed mindset. You get what I'm saying? So if I
Yes, sir.
say this, you should not stop where I stop. You should also think little bit more. How can this happen? How can that happen? Is that clear, Asta? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, students, can we come to the consolidation impact? So ready? Can we start doing the framing and the analysis is over now? So can we start writing here, students? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So I'll write down here IFRS 10 consolidated financial statements requires companies to produce financial, I can say, consolidated statement of financial consolidated statement of profit or loss, consolidated statement of financial position every year end. Okay, so that is the basic introduction. Ready? So
Yes, sir.
if there is a foreign subsidiary, if there is a foreign subsidiary, the consolidated statement of profit or loss should be the consolidated statement of profit or loss should be translated to the presentation currency using
Closing rate.
the average rate, what rate, students? Average rate
Average
for
rate.
profit and loss. I'll tell you the logic behind that also. Now if you generally see the statement of profit or loss, everyday transaction, yes or no, agree or not agree? So today, tomorrow, everyday sales will be taking place. So you can't go with average rate, closing rate. You need to go with the average rate. Is that clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
The statement, so I will come to the next sentence also. The statement of financial position, the statement of financial position should be translated using the closing rate.
Closing
What
rate.
rate?
Closing rate.
Closing rate should be translated using closing rate. Should be translated using closing rate. Should be translated using what rate? Closing rate. Should be translated using closing rate. Is that fine? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So students, what I will now specifically do is I will change my color into what color, students? The red color, the application. Agree? So can we write down here? I can say pry blocks.
Small
Pry
doubt.
blocks. Yes, please.
Sorry to interrupt you. Uh, you say closing rate. Is there any specific reason of financial position to record as closing rate?
Because in financial statement, we only show the opening and closing balances of the assets liabilities only. Because income and expenses only takes place every day. Profit or loss statement will have the changes between income and expenses, but financial position is a recording entry of asset liabilities and equity. So asset liabilities and equity, you will not always have transaction. Is that clear?
Correct. Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
No problem. So students, that is the logical reason, students. Asta, is that clear? Now, if you see a building, a machinery will be a machinery for long term. Agree or not agree, Asta? Yes or no?
Agreed.
Agreed, no? So I will come here, pry blocks, therefore, should be able to translate the Taka financial statements, of Taka financial statements of Plastifact. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Plastifact to V dollars. To what? V dollars.
$3.
Is that clear? Yes or no? Agree?
Yes, sir.
This can be for statement of profit or loss using average rate. Using what rate? Average rate. Average rate. And for statement of financial position, using
The
closing
closing
rate.
rate.
Closing rate. Is the consolidation impact, was it clear or not clear?
Yes, sir.
Good. And then students, I just wanted to add one more area, which is a little bit advanced knowledge. So So Asta, can you please write it down? So let's work together. So I can write down one more element, which is very important. The gain or loss, on foreign currency translation, should be recorded in other comprehensive income. Should be recorded in what?
Other
Other
comprehensive income.
other comprehensive income, and transferred to translation reserve in the statement of
Statement.
statement of changes in equity.
Financial position.
Statement of changes in equity. Changes in equity, and then to statement of financial position. Because this is a very important point, because students, have you observed in the preceding material we had something called translation reserve? Yes or no, students? The first day itself I was explaining, yes or no? Do you see translation reserve? I can just show it to you all, students, just for your understanding. Now if you say this Priblocks case study, what we did, students, did you observe, students, we have something called translation reserve? Even here, do you see here, foreign currency reserve, agree or not agree, yes or no? And then do you see here foreign currency reserve? Do you observe that, Asta? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Foreign currency reserve. So that was the point what I am saying, students. That's the way that you score a lot of marks in the examination. So thank you very much. So students, the financial statement of financial position impact was clear. So students, can we start doing the goodwill impact also? Yes or no, students?
So,
Yes, please.
sir, can we also mention about the acquisition of the subsidiary, that while acquisition we have to translate the all the PNL and everything on acquisition rate? Do we need to mention that?
I will do that in the goodwill impact, because
Okay.
that only I'm going to mention that in the goodwill impact.
Okay.
Goodwill is the first transaction for business combination, right?
Yes, sir.
So in that only that explanation is going to come. So
Okay.
students, can we continue, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Asta, yes. Okay. So I can say goodwill is the difference between the fair value of investment and the fair value of net assets. Fair value of investment and what, students? Fair
Fair
value of
value of
net
assets.
assets. Is that fine, Asta? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So I will continue further. So I can say, for a foreign subsidiary, the goodwill is calculated. In the normal method. The goodwill is calculated in the normal method. However, it should be translated. It should be what? It should be translated. It should be translated to. It should be
Closing rate.
translated to the
Present.
acquisition rate, not closing rate, acquisition rate at the point of acquisition. At the point of what? Acquisition. Today, if you are buying, means today you should calculate the goodwill, and today's translation rate you should translate it. Is that fine? Yes or no?
I have a question here, sir.
Yes, please.
So, this is at the time of acquisition, is what we are trying to uh, clarify. So that's why you've written rate at the point of acquisition.
Correct.
But the impact of goodwill, or while at the time of consolidation, since it's a balance sheet item, we are going to convert it at the closing rate in the presentation currency, right?
Correct. 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 So can we come to the next one? Yes or no, Asta?
Yes, sir.
So I can say the translation should be carried forward every year. Should be carried forward every year at the year end after you do the acquisition. You get what I'm saying? Every year you should assess what has happened to the goodwill because of the exchange rate changes by comparing the opening goodwill with the closing goodwill with the closing goodwill with the closing goodwill. That means after translation. Is that clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And if there is any impairment, loss, it should also be taken into consideration. It should also be taken into a consideration.
Consideration.
Is that fine? Yes or no, Asta? Clear or not clear?
Clear.
Clear. And then, Asta, can we come to the application now? Yes or no? So I
Yes,
can
sir.
say pry blocks will need to adjust the fair value of the machinery by, I can say, taka 5 million. By taka what? 5 million. Agree or not? This is a basic calculation. 10 5. Small calculation they will give. Is that fine, Asta? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Agree. 5 million. Only for this. Don't go for excess depreciation. Excess depreciation is for post acquisition,
Post
not now.
acquisition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which will increase the fair value of net asset, which will increase the fair value of what? Net asset, and reduce the goodwill. Reduce the what? Goodwill.
Goodwill.
Reduce the goodwill. So that is one point here. Now, can we come to the next area? Yes or no? The
Yes.
training cost cannot be treated as an asset, because we cannot we cannot sustain humans. We cannot sustain whom? Humans. Agree or not
Humans.
agree? Yes or no? Therefore it should be treated as an expense. It should be treated as what? An expense. Is that
Expense.
clear, Asta? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Clear. And then I can generally say the contingent means future. Contingent means what? Future.
Future.
The contingent liability of the court case needs to be taken into consideration. Taken into consideration. And the fair value of, I can say, taka 30,000. The fair value of taka 30,000 should be reduced in the financial statement. Should be reduced in what? In the financial statement.
Financial statement.
Financial statement should be reduced in the financial statement. Is that clear, Asta? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Good. So students, just before going into the post-acquisition profit impact, any questions you have, please feel free to let me know.
So, just one question. The first point we mentioned the impact of machinery. So, it is increasing our fair value by 5 million, and hence we gave an fair value asset, and we mentioned that it will have an impact of reduction on the goodwill. Just like that, on the contingent liability, we have mentioned that it needs to be taken into consideration in the fair value. But do we also specify the impact on the goodwill?
Impact on the goodwill, yes, better to say that. So I can say, therefore, the net assets may further reduce, because liability, it will reduce the net asset and
Yes.
increase the
Increase the
goodwill.
goodwill.
Increase the goodwill. That is fine. And here I can say there is no impact. Agree or not agree? Because asset liability
It's
is
a
not
revenue
affected.
expenditure.
It's a
Yeah.
revenue expenditure.
one question here.
1 minute. So I have a question in contingent liability concept. Is it 40% chance? Don't we disclose it by a note? Yes, we do disclose it by a note. But in an acquisition scenario, due to prudence concept, we need to take it as a expense. It's a rule. If it is more than 5%, according to prudence concept, should be taken as a rule. Yes, please.
I had same question like Osama.
Is that clear now? Because it's acquisition scenario. Very, very sensitive scenario. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
It's not individual company, external company is taking over. So in that case, it should be considered as a expense only.
But is it not better if we mention the same that due to the acquisition concept, we are specifically assuming it to be because according to IS 37, we just need to make a note of the same.
No, according to IAS 37, we need to make a note of this amount. But still, what I'm saying is that that's a liability note. So it's a new shareholders are coming into the picture. So the IFRS 10 or the IFRS 3 specifies even if there is anything that is on probable, please consider that as a liability in the business combination scenario, not in the individual IAS 37 scenario. Are you getting that point? Okay. Now, students, post-acquisition profit. So, students, can we continue with the post-acquisition profit? Yes. So, in the
Yes.
post-acquisition profit, students, can we please write it down? You can say the foreign subsidiary will be exposed to exchange rate fluctuation, where they will be able to, record the movement in the other comprehensive income as gain or loss on foreign currency. Gain or loss on what? Foreign currency. Is that clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Good. So students, I will write down the next area also. So I can generally suggest the next area as we can come to the point. And here we can say pry blocks will therefore have to account for the excess depreciation in Taka, which will be 0.5 million Taka, 0.5 million Taka per annum, and translate to V dollars using the average rate. This is one thing. Okay, and the next one I can further say is the contingent liability of Taka 30,000 should be taken into consideration, where they will be recognized in the statement of financial position. In the statement of what? Financial position. Statement of financial position, and translated using the closing rate. What rate, students?
Closing rate.
Closing rate. So is this clear, everyone? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So students, just wanted to ask now, if you see this question is a 25 marks question. So are you clear with how to write the answer? Yes or no? Agree? And
Agreed,
one
sir.
more thing, students, are they asking you the core calculations or applications of the calculation? Applications of the calculation. So be very much strong, students. So what I'm suggesting is, students, tomorrow and day after you have holiday. If we don't have class, we will be resuming our class from Tuesday. So for these 2 days, I will give you the notes. I will share you some notes. Can you just go through the notes, students? And can you get familiar with the basics at least? And I will be available in the group also. Yes or no, students? Is it possible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So, students, thank you very much for today's session. And I will meet you on Tuesday. And in Tuesday also, we'll start doing one more question. Is that fine? And slowly, I will be delegating the questions where you should be doing.
So just one question. It's a little unclear to me. When we are reading the third part, okay, or if you're reading the second question, the issue 2, it mentions at the time, can you explain the impact in the consolidated financial statement of prior blocks if the acquisition takes place? So we are looking from the acquisition point of view at the time of acquisition, what is going to be the impact? Because we have also given the context of a foreign subsidiary and how their assets or liabilities or any expense should be measured, whether it be at closing rate or an average rate. So here we are either mentioning it should be at an acquisition rate, but in terms of the, so I'm little confused in terms of what is the context that we put in our answers
No, the
or in
thing is, you are not
solution.
aware about the basics. Now, if it's possible, can I talk to Shruti or Shreya? Shreya, are you there?
Sir,
Yes,
I'm
yes,
there.
sir.
Yes, Shreya. Now, Shreya, just asking from you that acquisition is clear, right? Because that's not related to the case. It's a theory. Agree or not agree, Shreya? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Because that's a theory. It's not a application here, Asta. It's a basic theory only. You get the point what I'm saying. It's nothing
Agreed, sir.
related to the question. The question is very clear here because the issue is according to the standard whenever the acquisition takes place, it should be on the acquisition rate. You get what I'm saying? And if you see our audience, if you see the person who is asking the question is not a finance professional. So you should be able to handle in this area how you are going to make him understand that. Is that clear? Yes or no?
Okay. So I was just trying to interpret the question and
There
understand
is
whether
no
it,
wrong here. The question is very clear here. If the acquisition takes place, so you should explain the scenario on the acquisition angle. So you need to
okay,
clearly say when the acquisition takes place, there should be an acquisition date for sure.
acquisition.
Date for sure. And on that acquisition date, the transaction should be measured on that particular spot rate. Suppose let's assume tomorrow you are buying a company. Tomorrow it's
Yes.
going to be the acquisition date. Are you clear with that explanation there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clear.
Clear, right? So
Yes.
students, thank you very much here. So any other questions you have, please feel free to let me know, students. This is
So
very,
I
very
have a
important.
question.
Yes, please.
Like in IFRS 10, they have mentioned mention very theoretical knowledge. Big theories are written. Like there are 4 to 5 points, main points regarding the acquisition part, like the goodwill calculation and like presentation of financial statement. So those 4 to 5 points I have seen, and those are repeated again and again in other notes as well. Do we need to write those points as well while
No,
preparing
what
the
is
answer?
relevant only we need to write it down, not everything. What is relevant only. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
What is relevant only. If you write everything, you won't have time now because I told you time management is important. Now the suggested timing for this exam paper is only 45 minutes. So I am telling you, don't go through everything by heart, by mind. You go through. You get what I'm saying there, Shruti. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because the books are huge. I told you F2 has around 17, 18 chapters. You can't spend your entire time on that chapter because you will get confused. Even a student who has done F2 by OTQ will find it very hard to study that again. Are you clear with what I'm saying?
Right, sir.
Get the overview, because after every chapter there is something called chapter summary. In that chapter summary you have the overview of what they are telling. Is that clear?
Right, sir.
So any other questions, students?
So I had a question. So
Yes,
can you
please.
move the page to goodwill impact on your answer?
Okay.
So in the last paragraph, the contingent liability of the coach needs to be taken into consideration, and the fair value of Taka 30,000 should be reduced in the financial statement. Therefore, the net assets may further reduce and increase the goodwill. So how will this increase the goodwill?
Because net assets are reducing now, because when the net assets are less and the investment is 100,000, let's assume a scenario. A net asset, I'll just write it down here. Now let's assume it's common sense, right? Now let's assume you have invested 100,000. Invested how much? 100,000. And net assets, let's assume, is 50,000. So 100 minus 50 goodwill is how much? 50,000. Yes or no? Agree. Okay. Are you there? Yes or no?
Yes,
Are you
sir.
understanding? Yes.
Yes,
So
sir.
let's assume a scenario where you are using the contingent liability. Liability will reduce the asset value. Agree? No? So let's assume there is a liability of 10,000. So 50,000 minus 10,000, it will be how much? 40,000. Investment being constant, 100,000 minus 40. So the goodwill is now it's going to increase by how much? 60,000. Hello?
Okay, got it.
Please write it down. Students, again, a kind request, better mic system, students. It's not a big investment, small investment, because it will be really helpful. You can talk during the class. The main reason of my classes are communication. It's not just a webinar type of classes, students. You should interact. Any other questions you have, students? So if everything is fine, can you just put Y in the chat box, students? Thank you very much. Kathy and Lily, do you have any questions? Kathy and Lily?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, so thank you very much, students. We'll meet on Tuesday.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you.